Today's discussion is about relationships. There are so many people we come in contact with throughout the course of a day. We have family members, people we work with, friends that we do church and ministry life with. We have our neighbors, and we have our closest friends. We all have relationships with people that fulfill very specific needs in each of our lives, and each relationship is different and unique. Great relationships are made when we treat people with love and with respect. Matthew chapter 22, Jesus tells us about two greatest commandments. The first one is, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. We are commanded to love God and to love people. As we take the time today to talk about our relationships and reflect on those two commandments, I want us to really consider a couple of ways that we express our love to God and to others. First, how well do you love God? Do you have a reverence for who He is? Are you submitting to Him in all His ways? He is loving and merciful and forgiving, but He is also holy, just, and righteous. Secondly, how well do you love others? Are you respectful and courteous to your family, friends, or even people you don't know that well? Do you share genuine concern and interest when people talk to you? Or do you just rush through conversations and make short interactions? I am sure we've all been guilty a time or two of thinking about how to answer someone instead of just being present in the conversation and listening to what they have to say. Relationships take work. In the book of James, we are encouraged to be quick to listen and slow to speak. As Christ followers, it's important to understand we are accountable for our actions and for the way we treat and love others. People are special and deserve to be treated respectfully. So let's take just a few minutes to examine our motives, our spiritual ethics, and our moral standards. Let's begin with evaluating our relationship with God and our obedience to His holy word. The instruction and discipline we receive from the Bible is our number one source of strength and wisdom for nurturing and developing healthy relationships and boundaries. The love we have for God and the worship we demonstrate through our daily actions and choices keeps us grounded. It keeps our eyes fixed on Jesus. And as a result, we're less likely to get ourselves stuck in a situation we would rather not be caught up in. If our eyes are not fixed on Jesus, we run an enormous risk of placing all dependency upon ourselves. And too often, the result is acting selfishly. When we become too comfortable and make careless choices, that is where we open a door for boundaries to be broken. Each relationship we encounter has potential to rise or to fall. When you love your spouse well, you feel connected, you feel close to them, and there's a trust and a confidence like none other. And you demonstrate that love with your words and with your affection. There's no other relationship like it. Our boundaries have to remain solid. You don't overshare with others about things that were confidential between you and your spouse. This creates cracks where sin and temptation can take up root. You also don't allow yourself to be placed in situations or environments, especially with the opposite sex, that could look questionable. It is in everyone's best interest to follow what's called the BGR, the Billy Graham Rule. This is a code of conduct in which you avoid spending time alone with someone of the opposite sex that is not your spouse. This will keep you out of trouble by avoiding any appearance of questionable behavior or misconduct. This rule has been followed by every pastor and ministry leader that I have ever known or served under. It provides protection against false accusations and creates accountability. It's your insurance coverage from negative or false accusations. It's also important that we are not too passive and understand that none of us are exempt from falling short on poor decision-making or compromising boundaries. Accountability is our best protection as we strive to avoid the very appearance of evil. Relationships are important, and close friends you can share life and ministry with is a treasure. But we have to remain spiritually ethical and live by standards that are pleasing to God. It is a blessing and an encouragement in life to have strong relationships and be able to confide in others on your good days and even on your not so good days. But it will become a problem if you lose sight of your boundaries. You need to know your limits. This is why being rooted in a relationship with Jesus Christ is so important. We must stay connected to Him through prayer and Bible reading and implement the wisdom and discernment we receive into our daily life. Otherwise, we risk making wrong choices or not being sensitive enough to the discernment of the Holy Spirit. Remember, none of us are exempt from making poor choices. It will also help to be mindful of the people you allow into your life. Whether we like it or not, we tend to look like those we hang out with. It also helps to be mindful of others and how they receive you. Are they being courteous and respectful towards you? Are they good listeners and genuinely interested in your concerns and interests? Do they show the fruit of the Spirit? Do they show a strong relationship with Jesus? And do they seem wise and responsible with ethical and moral standards? It's not that we are holding up a list of requirements for people to follow in order to be in our lives or to place any foundation in friendship, but you and I, as Christ followers, are to guard our hearts and live a life that is ethically and morally pleasing to God. Romans chapter 12, verse 2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will." The world's standards will be different. So as a follower of Christ, we must love God wholeheartedly and depend upon Him for wisdom and strength so we can enjoy healthy relationships and friendships that will be uplifting and encouraging. Proverbs says that friends give pleasant, sincere advice, seeking our highest good. Romans, it says friends honor each other above themselves and love each other the same way that Christ loves us. I hope you have been encouraged today to love God and to love others and to create boundaries in your relationships. Have a great day and God bless.